Okay, let me pose a simple question to you. Did you see the last Mission Impossible movie that came out this summer? Did you? If you did, you really don't need to go see Spectre. And I really do mean that. It hits a lot of the exact same beats as Mission Impossible. It just doesn't do them as well. And don't get me wrong, it's a James Bond movie. It's gonna have all the stuff that you love. It's got the women, the cars, the action. Oh, actually, the action sequences are done really well. I'll give them that. There wasn't any sort of weird kind of shaky camera type thing. Let me show you like that, where you're in the action sequences or something like that. It's actually done really well, very clean. Everything is done in the movie really high budget, really awesome. My issue is an issue of kind of the story and the letdown of the villain. When I saw the trailers for this movie, I thought the villain was going to be amazing. They really touted him as supposed to be this like sort of anti 007 that his entire life he's been out to get James Bond, and James Bond never even knew. He's kind of controlled his entire life, his entire destiny, and that's the villain I kind of went in wanting to see, especially starring Christoph Waltz as the main villain. He's amazing. It was a big letdown, honestly. I really didn't enjoy him as a villain. Like, he spends I think 3 scenes in the entire movie on screen. The rest is like kind of left up to your imagination. Another issue I have with the main villain in this is that he does a lot of talking about kind of what he's done in the past and how dark and ominous and how amazing he is, but you never really see him do anything all that amazing in the movie. He's just basically kind of background filler. He has a dark and ominous tone, but it doesn't seem like he has a lot of bite to back it up. And then when you physically see the character, the way they had him dressed was kind of ridiculous. Like, he had kind of like a new agey, kind of hipster, new agey suit on. He had this villainous lair, but there was a dude outside holding champagne for whatever guests come in the hot desert. And he was what threw me. Honestly, what threw me off is he was not wearing socks with his shoes, and he was wearing a full suit. I didn't get that. It was weird. But yeah, the villain as a whole was a big letdown for this movie. And then you have Bautista in this movie for like 23 scenes where he's fighting James Bond, and there were some cool sequences, but they gave him like one line in the whole movie. I don't get that. I could take or leave that guy's character overall. They just kind of threw him in there as filler. I don't know. I really didn't like. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really didn't like this film all that much. I really liked Mission Impossible. And this movie, again, it follows a lot of the same beats, but I'm not sure if it executed as well as Mission Impossible, but it wasn't as likable. And I think it has to do with the supporting cast. There isn't as much of it in this movie, whereas, the Mission Impossible films, they took a lot of time, not just building a world around Tom Cruise, but building a lot of side characters and a lot of cool, interesting, and funny characters that play off of his character really well. They don't really do that in this James Bond franchise. And another thing that let me down quite a bit was the character development for James Bond. They were giving him a lot going in from the last movie into this one, and they even brought it up a lot in this film where they're talking about his past and the people who have died around him and how it's kind of his fault, and he's got to decide whether to move on with his life or stay as James Bond for the rest of his life. They hinted at it the entire film. They never really did much with it. It kind of felt like they were just throwing in character depth, hoping something would stick. It was a letdown. This whole movie, while it's a good entertainment piece, similar to like Fast and the Furious, like that's going to be a good action film, but you're going to be let down by the story. That's just a simple fact. Feel free to see the movie. As far as I know, they're going to need a lot of sales to make up for their production budget. So please support them so we can see more Daniel Craig as Bond. But this is not one of my favorite Bond films by far. It's probably not even a crack top 5 overall. It was a good film, not great. I think a lot of the ratings you're going to see online with it's going to be a lot of good ratings because it's a Bond film. And I think if you take away Daniel Craig, take away the James Bond name, I think this movie wouldn't hold a candle to a lot of other summer blockbusters out there. So take that for what you will. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. It was a big letdown for me, and there was a lot of potential that could have been had in this movie with the villain, with the backstory. The love interest was actually kind of cool for the most part. Like, she could actually kick ass, whereas some of the other Bond ladies don't really kick ass. But then they really didn't do anything with that either. So it was kind of just a lot of unrealized potential that I wanted to see in this film that I just didn't get to. And if you feel up to it, go ahead and hit that like button and feel free to subscribe to our channel. You can also find your way to madmadsreviews.com to see all of our other new awesome content, because we cover things like anime, movies, and television on there. And hey, I look forward to seeing you again.